Welcome to This is the Day on Family TV and Family Radio 316. I am Odix Iron. Thank you for choosing Family TV and Family Radio. I'm glad that you chose us on the 21st of August 2020, such a beautiful Friday evening. And I have great stories lined up for you. I'll be telling you about the COVID situation in the country. But let's start with something to do with politics, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has told politicians not to drag him into the wrangles at the Senate over the revenue allocation formula. The president said that the formula was proposed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation and has nothing to do with him. He spoke earlier today at KICC when he issued 38,000 land title deeds to residents of Embakasi Ranching, Tasia, Korogosho, Mbagathi River Estate in Nairobi County. His remarks comes as the Senate is expected to end its stalemate, which has delayed the disbursement of funds to counties. The Senate on Monday night adjourned for the 9th time to allow for the special sitting formed by opposing sides to reach consensus on the third basis of the formula allocation among counties.
Wakupiga kelele waendelee. Tukiongea hii mambo ya Senate, mimi si pesa ya Uhuru ati watu waseme Uhuru hii formula si ilitolewa na wale watu wa SRC. Si imeenda Senate kusema watu wagawe pesa kwa njia ya haki, kila mtu apate haki. Kwa nini mwananchi wa Nairobi ati kwa sababu inasemekana ati Nairobi ni mji tajiri, wewe ambao unaishi Embakasi na Korogosho bado unafunga choo kwa karatasi, lakini unaambiwa wewe ni tajiri, huna haki ya kupata pesa? Ukweli na haki utajitokeza, na mimi sitapigana, na mimi sina na mabishano na mtu yeyote.
And Uhuru said that his administration is determined to fulfill its promises to the people and will not be derailed by anyone. He urged landowners given the title deeds to make good use of them and not to be blackmailed by cartels.
Nelly Wanjiro Kamau afuate. Recho Wanjiro Geshini. Recho. Recho. Enda pan. Jugona Ndongo. Veronica Serra.
And the Deputy President, William Ruto, has urged Senate committee established to resolve the revenue allocation stalemate to come up with a formula that cannot divide the country. He said Senate must ensure that no county should be hurt while developing a formula for sharing revenue. Addressing a delegation of elders and leaders from Bungoma and Trans Nzoia counties at his Sugoi home in Uasin Gishu County, Dr. Ruto today said that the Senate has a requisite leadership and wisdom to come up with a formula that takes into an account all parameters and ensures that populous counties have additional resources. The Deputy President said President Uhuru Kenyatta and him were leaders of all Kenyans, irrespective of ethnic population and how they voted during the last general elections.
Kweli ni vizuri hiyo formula lazima ichunguzwe upya vile Senate ilipendekeza na vile katiba inavyosema. Lakini wakati tunachunguza formula hiyo upya, ni haki kwamba counties zile kubwa zenye watu wengi waongezewe rasilimali na waongezewe pesa. Lakini hapo tusiwasahau counties zile ndogo kama Vihiga, kama Isiolo, kama Tana River, kama Tharaka Nithi, kwa sababu ni counties ndogo. Pia tuwafikirie wasipotee kule katikati. Pia na tufikirie zile counties ambazo zimekuwa marginalized siku nyingi kama Turkana, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, kule Kilifi, Kwale, Taita Taveta. Hizo counties pia tutafute namna ili hata kama pesa zao zitapungua, zipungue kwa kiasi ambayo haitawadhulumu ama haitadhulumu utendakazi katika counties hizo. Sisi wote ni nchi moja. Mheshimiwa Rais na mimi kama naibu wa rais, sisi tunawafanyia kazi wa Kenya wote, wale walio wengi na wale walio wachache.
And just to fill you in, to dial you into the issues that's happening around the country, the current affairs right now, that has been the 9th meeting that has been adjourned for discussing the revenue allocation formula, and they're going in for the 10th meeting. And that brings us to the question of the day, and I'm asking you, do you think it's possible to have a win-win formula among the warring factions when it comes to revenue allocation bill? Do you think it's possible to have a win-win formula when it comes to the warring factions on the revenue allocation bill? Remember, you can WhatsApp me on 0786316316, or you can SMS me on 20316, and I'll be sampling some of your views a little bit later. And moving on to matters COVID-19, and Kenya today recorded 322 new cases of the COVID-19, raising the country's total to 31,763. Health CAS Mercy Mwangangi confirmed this today. This was after samples of 4,470 were tested in the last 24 hours. All the new cases were Kenyans except 9, out of which 179 were male, while 143 were female. Speaking during the COVID-19 daily briefing, Mwangangi said another 288 patients have recovered from the disease, bringing the total number of recoveries in the country so far to 18,157. However, 16 more patients succumbed to the virus, raising the fatalities to 532. At least 16 healthcare workers have so far succumbed to the virus, while another 885 have been infected.
And we need to avoid forms of public gathering. Reviewing the week that has just passed, in terms of our COVID statistics, we ran a sample size of 4,470 in the last 24 hours, of which 322 people tested positive, bringing the total number of positive cases in the country to 31,763. And from all these cases, all were Kenyan except 9 who were foreigners. In terms of our recoveries, we have 288 patients who've recovered from the disease, of which 190 are from the home-based care program. Our total recoveries stand at 18,157. And we do really sincerely appreciate our healthcare workers for the good job that they're doing. Unfortunately, today we've lost 16 patients who succumbed to the disease, bringing our fatality to 532. And we would like to pass our sincere condolences to the families and friends of all of those who've lost their loved ones.
And despite all this, some residents have defined the preventive measures issued by the Ministry of Health, and the majority of Kenyans no longer wear face masks, even as new incidents are continuing to be recorded in the country.
Kama niko peke yangu sivangi. Unajua saa nyingine natufunganga sana. Kama sasa wakikuja wengi kila mtu hivyo sio nafaa na yeye na akiona hii mororongo ni wengi anafaa magisi.
Mwenye atafaa magisi, ninaomba maaskari wamshike tena watoe kwa 2,000 wapandishe ndio watu kukua na akili ya kufaa maski.
Watu wanaenda kama ni watoto wa shule. Ukiona polisi karibu ama mtu yeyote wa serikali karibu ndio nafaa maski.
Ni vizuri kuvaa mask, ni vizuri kubeba sanitizer, hata watu wa motorbike kama mimi mwenyewe niko nayo.
Money has been stolen. So Kenyans in our heart tuna doubt kama corona iko.
Mimi ni mtu wa jua kali, natoa jasho kila wakati. Unaona hata nimetoa yangu ndio ile pale. Nimeosha ikauke.
Hapa Kaptembwa hatujui corona. Tunasikia tu corona iko, tujasikia mtu amekufa Kaptembwa.
Kuna tota corona na kuna tota corona. Sasa tunajua ni gani. Tuleteo mtu mmoja ambaye iko na corona. Tuweze kufanya nini? Tuweze kumuona.
Iko watu ambaye wakati wanatuona ndio wanafaa hizo vitu.
The mask is very important. We are not out of the woods yet. We are still having patients coming into our hospitals. We might see that the anxiety and hype has reduced, but it does not mean that the disease is not with us. It's still here with us.
My friend, even if unatoa jasho, hata kama unatoa jasho, you're working in jokali sector, na unatoa jasho kila wakati, kindly put on the mask. It's very important. It's very important. It's very easy. If you want just to prevent yourself from coronavirus, it's the basic things. Put on your mask. Make sure you maintain the social distance. And make sure you wash your hands thoroughly. Just the simple things in life will save your life. So let's try and do that, and we shall all be happy. We shall all flatten the curve. And I earlier asked you the question about the revenue allocation bill, and I asked you, do you think that it's possible to have a win-win formula when it comes to the revenue allocation bill? Do you think that it's possible to have a win-win formula when it comes to the revenue allocation bill? And remember, you can WhatsApp me on 0786316316. You can also SMS me on 20316, and later during the show, I'll be sampling some of your views today. And moving on with our stories. Earlier today, police lobbed tear gas and dispersed a group of Kenyans who were holding peaceful demonstrations against the government. The group was protesting against the loss of the COVID-19 funds, which has put Kenya Medical Supplies Agency KEMSA and the health docket under CS Mutahi Kagwe on the spotlight. Some of the activists were arrested and bundled into a waiting police van in the Nairobi Central Business Station. The activists had earlier marched through Uhuru Park while carrying placards calling for the resignation of officials embroiled in the scandal. They bumped into the GSU police at the park, who had been waiting for the protests to commence. Communications consultant Wanjeri Nderu later explained that the protest had been organized by the Kenya Tuitakayo movement in partnership with the Facebook group Buyers Beware Team.
We've been hit with more than 20 of this since we converged here today morning, and all we needed to do was just come and have a peaceful demonstration, which is our right as Kenyans given to us by the constitution of this country, that we are free to protest anything that we feel like protesting for. We do not need to seek permission from the police for them to allow us to congregate. And what they have decided to do is to disperse us using tear gas. We organized ourselves into 4 groups. One was here, the other groups in town, even the groups in Jivanji have been tear gassed. The groups at Archives have been tear gassed. We cannot work with the police like this. The police cannot make us our enemy. But what are we saying here today? We are demanding for the arrest of the people who are known, thieves who are known to have stolen COVID-19 billions, but they are still free. The police, instead of coming to tear gas us, they should be in their offices investigating, making sure these people are taken to court and jailed. We cannot live in a country where we are ruled by impunity and we have a system that does not care for the people of this nation.
The person who can flatten the curve is the citizen. Instead of giving the citizen the money, the government took all the money. The only person who can sort out the reality on the ground is still the people here. And instead of involving and including the citizen in the fight against this pandemic, the president decided to put corporates, his friends, his interesting politicians, tired guys, who are not professionals. We are professionals here. Yes, instead of using the professionals, they use their friends and colleagues, and to date, we are seeing where we are. As we sit as Kenyans, we cannot sit pretty knowing that some of us have lost their jobs. People don't have houses. Rent issues he refused to address. People are dying in hospitals. People do not have food. The relief he ought to have given us, he is giving it to his own friends.
From the protesters to the Senate Health Committee, where the Senate Health Committee has issued a statement of approve that suspended the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA Chief Executive Officer Jonah Manjari was indeed sick after he missed a grilling session on Friday morning. The committee's chairperson, Bito Michael Malinga, ruled that the Senate clerk should receive a letter signed by the Kenyatta National Hospital CEO by 2 p.m. before the committee resumed its afternoon sitting.
And it's a serious matter. If you go to Kisumu today, we do not even have masks. Most of our counties are suffering today. And yet, the money was allocated. And yet, few individuals are now rich. And now you come here and bring us the high-profile advocate to listen to you, to represent you, to protect you. There will be no way this time.
Those who supplied air, they will have to chew that air. We will follow. If they say they purchase things from China, we will go to China until we're able to identify where these things were going.
We are dealing with a situation where life of individuals and people is involved. And therefore, it's a very weighty matter, and therefore bears consequences
we shall get to the bottom of this issue. That one I can guarantee you. And just so that I can quell the fears of Senator Dr. Langat, our mandate can be expanded to the point where we have finalized our work, and as we have promised Kenyans, our reports will come full circle and we'll file them, and we will do our duty as legislators and as representatives of Kenyans.
If indeed anyone who is involved in this matter, they will carry their own cross.
I don't know what we think about that. And the national government has actually committed to reopening schools come January next year, whether the COVID-19 pandemic will have flattened or not. Meanwhile, through the Ministry of Education, it has confirmed that they had already disbursed at least 6.7 billion shillings to build classes in 31 counties. The government continues taking COVID-19 measures in improving their respective institutions through building of classrooms.
The government has committed, and there's no turning back, that national reopening of schools will happen in January. Between now and January, the government is taking deliberate measures in improving our institutions for habitation once we resume schooling. Perhaps in 3 weeks from now, the government will be starting to put up classes because the tenders have been floated, evaluation committees have sat down, and they have concluded the process so that we add classes. Since July, the government has been deliberate on connecting clean, safe, and drinkable water in every of these schools in Kenya. Same as we did to electricity. As you know, every school now, with an exception of less than 1%, has electricity, even in the remotest of places.
Yeah, and moving on with Martha's leadership in this country, and a section of leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto have actually hit out at the Interior CS Fred Matiang'i over the issue that they have with Deputy President Ruto. The leaders are in particular livid over remarks attributed to the CS allegedly asking the second in command to resign if he feels he's not part of the government.
Matiang'i is a civil servant, and he works under the president and his deputy. There is no way that he can take the oath of being the deputy president or the president of Kenya. His mandate stops and the cabinet secretary. He has been given some fake names like super minister and all kinds of, to promote him, to build his head, to make him think that he is more than a cabinet secretary. But no matter what names you have been given, Mr. Matiang'i, you remain to be a cabinet secretary who is under the office of the president, the office of the deputy president.
When you think you are powerful because you sit in meetings where elected leaders and presidents are, and you are not measured about what is the purpose for which you hold or wield that office, you are bridled by a certain arrogance. I can tell Matiang'i, Uhuru will be out of office in 2 years. Tread very carefully, my brother. The wings of justice might just crush you in manners that you can never expect.
Matiang'i, you're just a cook in this government. The owners of this government ni Mheshimiwa Ruto na Mheshimiwa Uhuru. Huwezi kuambia watoke kwa boma yao ati wewe uende kwa bedroom. Wewe ndio nani? In fact, I think there is merit in those who are advocating that members of the cabinet maybe should come from elected leaders. Elected leaders remember what it takes to go to parliament and thereafter to become a member of the cabinet.
Yeah, our leaders out here trying to outdo each other when it comes to matters leadership of the country. Everybody wants to be the one who's on top of the other. It's just a contest, a little bit of a contest. You can see what Boni Halwale is saying about Matiang'i. I don't know about it, but that's Boni Halwale. Those are his words, not my words. And I'd Ali asked you the question that do you think that it's possible to have a win-win formula when it comes to the revenue allocation bill? And you can reach me on my WhatsApp line on 0786316316, or you can SMS me on 20316. Earlier, I'd asked you the question, do you think it's possible to have a win-win formula when it comes to the revenue allocation bill? And when I check my feedback, I can see somebody over here, Remy Kipchirchir telling me that on the question of the day, I don't know that a win-win formula can be possible, but if it had to be the Senate to come up with a compromise and level the playing field in order for the counties to benefit after all. Thank you very much, Remy Nashikuru, for your feedback. Lynette from Nairobi telling me that, yes, it's possible to have a win-win if there is no greed and selfishness. And now, sema ukweli, it's true. Even for me, I am really think that greediness is one thing that is pushing most of us out here for the sake of greediness, that we don't want to come up with a formula out here. But I can also see somebody over here on my SMS line. There is somebody over here by the name of Faith telling me that, yes, the Senate can come up with a formula only if they start serving the interest of Kenyans and not serving their own interest. Then I can also see somebody over here, anaitwa Rebecca from Ahero, anasema ya kwamba we can have a win-win formula, but the problem is this: we give them the money, they advocate for the money, and we give them the money, and when they have the money, they never show us what they have done, even with the money that has been allocated to them. Hii pesa ni kwa sababu ya tumbo yao, not because of Kenyans. Okay, those are your views. And earlier today, I had a conversation. I know this week we celebrated the World's Humanitarian Day, and I had a conversation with Susan Cherono, who's a humanitarian. And we talked about the whole thing about humanitarianism. And I started by asking her, what is humanitarian?
Basically, when it's the service you give,
yes,
that puts a humanistic value on someone.
Yes.
Because when you give money, it's monetary, but humanitarian is where you give of your time, of your everything. You know, like you give your all.
Yes.
Just to support someone who is less fortunate than you are.
Okay, great. I'm talking about someone who's less fortunate than you are. What do you do to help the less fortunate as a humanitarian?
Okay, for me, I've always been a humanitarian.
Yes.
Like as young as I could remember, as a young girl.
Yeah.
So it reached a point where I've been a volunteer for like 22 years in the community. But in 2018, God called me to service because I kept running away from service. My calling is in helping people, especially children, orphan and vulnerable children.
Okay.
So come 2018 October, I started a project that helps children from the slums.
Yes.
And what we do is that we provide psychosocial support.
Okay.
So we are big on mental health. That is our main program.
Okay.
Mental health. So when we give psychosocial support, psycho meaning psychological and mentorship. Social is anything that affects us socially. Okay. Food, clothes, school fees, shelter, anything that affects us socially.
Okay.
So our the project is called Eseriani Place. Eseriani is a registered CBO. And the word Eseriani is a Maasai name.
Yes.
It means peace.
Okay.
So that's what we try to bring out to these children, and their caregivers. We also support their parents, because some of them are orphans. They live with relatives or friends or whoever.
Yeah.
So we also try to support their caregivers.
Okay.
So in Eseriani, we have 3 programs.
Yeah.
The first one is for children, orphan and vulnerable children, where they come in every holiday, and we just give them mentorship, we give them counseling, we feed them, we also build their giftings, their talents.
Yeah.
The second one is for the caregivers. We also start with counseling, mentorship, we give food. And then once someone is full, you see, you cannot counsel someone and they're telling you they're hungry.
Yeah.
And then you're telling them, don't worry, it shall be okay. God will see you through.
Yeah.
No, God has sent you to actually be the one to help that person.
Yes.
So after you give them food and counseling, then now you teach them how to fish.
Yes.
So we usually teach them entrepreneurship skills because most of them they either do manual jobs like washing, they work in factories, but they don't have any skills. So we teach them a skill that can be added to what they do, or they can start a business.
Okay.
So the third one also starts with counseling. It's for teenage moms, young moms, and at-risk girls.
Yeah.
Those who are at risk of getting married early or getting pregnant because they've dropped out of school. So we also start with counseling, mentorship, food, and then now we look for people to support taking them back to school or for a vocational course or a job. Because we are avoiding where the scenarios where them, like what happens to their moms, where they had the first baby, then the second baby, then I have one mama who has 9.
Whoa.
You know, just that one of 1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
You know, so we try to avoid that they do the same mistake the second time.
Yeah.
So we talk to them, because sometimes it's about the poverty level.
Yes.
So we most of it is about sanitary towels, about food.
Yes.
So that's one of the things we give.
Yes.
It's part of the things we give, the sanitary towels and the food.
Yes.
Then from there, now they won't be looking for those people to buy for them who end up impregnating them, you know?
Yeah.
Because they tell them, okay, I'll give you the 50 shillings for the sanitary.
Yes.
But on condition.
Personally, as Susan Cherono, why is helping so much important to you? Because I can see you have a lot of passion when it comes to helping. Yeah.
Wow. For me, I try to be a problem solver.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the people who want to sit back and say, oh, it's the government's problem. Or why aren't their parents talking to them? Or ABCD. Also, I can say a little bit about my background, especially when it comes to matters of children. I grew up in a difficult family life.
Yeah.
And we were orphaned a bit early, not too early, but we were in school. And I was left with a 4-year-old brother to take care of. And from that time, with the challenges I faced bringing up a child, I'm a child and I'm bringing up a child, I can empathize with others who are going through the same. And I just want to be there for other children who are going through those things. You know, you'd only have to have walked that path to be able to direct someone. Also, when it comes to mental health, I have gone through depression.
I'm sorry about
and overcome. I overcame, and I felt that with my background of studying counseling, I need to help other women, other children. And when I look at the costs of counseling, the people living in the informal settling cannot afford to. So I decided, let me use what I have to go and give it to them for free, because they can't afford it and they need it. Considering what they go through, the challenges they go through every day. There are fires almost every week, fires in the slums. There's a lady who was kicked out. There was a lady who's been orphaned. There's a child who's lost a parent. So there's so many issues. So why can't I use what I have that God has given me freely? Because even as young as I was, even before I studied counseling, I already used to counsel people. People used to come to me for advice. So they have this issue. So it was a God-given gift, and I'm a people person. So I'm able to sit next to someone in a matatu, and they'll end up telling me, oh, I'm going through this. So and I'll be able to be there and listen and walk by. And I've had such incidents where even someone was having marital issues, and we were able to just go through it and get to know where the issue started. And by the time we were reaching where we were going, he was a happy man and was willing to go and make his marriage work.
Wow, that is good. That is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a calling. It's a calling.
Great. I think we almost have the same kind of character, because I've realized that there is one outstanding character that you have. You're a very good listener.
Yes.
Very good listener. I'm the kind of a person, I listen to everything. I listen to everything, as much as maybe I may not have the solution, but I try just to encourage someone to be able to come through it, because I believe, that's why I usually believe that every time you are out here, you should always try to have an impact on somebody's life when you meet somebody out here. And I think that's a very great virtue that you have, and I really, really thank you for having such kind of a kind heart. And you've talked about helping people, and I just wanted to know, how can the person who's watching you right now try also to be helpful to somebody else out there who really needs that help?
Okay, what I usually say, you don't have to be a millionaire to help.
Yeah.
Someone needs just someone to listen. You might not be able to solve their problem. If someone has an issue with money, and they start discussing it, and they tell you, see, I need this money, but I don't have it, and you will be able even to share an idea. This person might be able, you might even have an idea of where they're going wrong with their money use.
Yeah.
So you just need to give someone a helping hand by just listening. Sometimes you have an extra packet of flour.
Yes.
It means that there's a family that won't sleep hungry. Some people tell me they actually carry food in the car, and at traffic lights, they'll give someone.
Wow.
You've made someone's day.
Wow.
It only takes the small, just being there. Like the families that I help in the society. When you listen to their background stories, there's no love, there's no care, there's no attention. So you would not be surprised why they are where they are. They didn't get affirmation from a parent. They were probably brought up by a grandmother who's old and had no time, she was tired, or a parent who was really working so hard, and some of them are bitter because probably the husband left. So sometimes they just need someone to encourage them, tell them it's going to be okay. And what I told them is, when I started the project, I told them that I know you have been praying, and God has sent me. I will not be able to pay your bills and sort out your issues, but I'm here to listen, I'm here to guide you, I'm here to walk with you. I'm your family now. So as long as there's that acceptance. And let me tell you, my house became an altar where people have received Christ as we pray, because they thought that God had abandoned them. They thought that because that's why they are living in the situation. But basically, it's not true. It's just that they needed someone just to give them a hand and walk with them and guide them. So what we do, a lot of things we do is that we gather stuff. People have things they don't use. You have clothes that you haven't worn in the last 3 months. It will be helpful to someone here in the slums. You have food, you have cutlery. Someone's house burnt down. You have furniture you're not using. Yet it's just been rained on somewhere there. So you'll find that the way you can give, it should be also from your heart. Never give just because you feel guilty or you feel and you should, or just to take pictures. You should give because you want to give. And don't give because you want God to bless you. Give because it's coming from your heart. You're helping, you're making someone's life better.
Great. And you know, at the moment, as we wind up just in a minute, I know that at the moment there is the COVID-19 issues, and I know that at the moment there is some, I'm so sure there are a lot of people out there who really need this help. And as we just wind up in just some few words, I want you to tell me, how can someone out here who really wants to help join you in your cause?
Okay, like now during this COVID, we've been able to give over 300 families food. Some once or twice, depending on their severity of poverty, like the disabled and the very sick. What I have told friends, even one packet of unga is it helps.
Yeah.
If we need volunteers, sometimes like now we are having the workshop, we need volunteers who come and just talk to the kids. These kids need people to show them they love them and then to teach them even about COVID. Because I realize they don't know what it is. Yeah. All they know is that they've been told to stay at home and put masks. So, yeah, so there's so much help out there. You can make donations of clothes, food, cash, anything. Time. We can just come and we visit a family that just needs an encouraging word.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much, Susan Cherono, for joining us this evening. I'm so grateful for your time.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful
Thank you for having me.
It's really amazing that you give us hope because, in this world of a lot of cruel stuff happens out here, but I'm glad that you are doing the positive things in this life, that it's going to impact so much in our human life. And I'm so glad that you've encouraged us also to join the cause to be humanitarians in our society and start with the smallest bit. It doesn't matter how much money we earn or how much we give out, as long as we put a smile on someone's face. I'm grateful. God bless you so much, and have yourself a great weekend. As you heard from Susan Cherono, she was telling us about the aspect of giving. And she said in her words that it's not a matter for you to have a lot of money for you to give out, to give out to the humanity out here. It's just a matter of it comes from the heart. You must have the heart to serve. I pray to God that you have the heart to serve. And I'd earlier asked you the question that do you think it's possible to have a win-win formula in the revenue allocation bill? And I can see somebody over here by the name of Naomi telling me that it's not possible at all as long as our senators are engaged in greedy activities. I can see Calvin telling me that the revenue allocation thing will go on and on until everybody has kind of been satisfied that they're going to get a good share out of it. And I just want to thank everybody else who decided to text me today. I want to thank Ben. Thank you for your feedback. Paris from Kabete, Vincent from Nairobi, Remy Kipchirchir, Mutanu. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. And thank you for your feedback. I'm so glad for your feedback. I can also see somebody from Ahero. I'm so glad. Thank you for your feedback. And thank you very much for all your feedback, Rahab. I'm glad that you decided to be with me all this time and watch all this great interview that we have, because we do it for the sake of you, for the sake of making sure that you learn something new. And as we wind up, over 60% of Kenyan men suffering from poor mental health either do not know it or are not seeking treatment. A community-based organization says the situation was worsened following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic due to lost incomes and increased cases of gender-based violence.
Like now one has to maybe to remain at home, or both of them are at home, and there is no income. And you find that now they have started blaming each other. And we have realized there is a lot of intimate partner violence that is on the rise. We find that when a man is stressed, he projects his stress to the children and to the wife. Now that schools have closed down, there is a lot of the budgets are high in the house, and one thing, they're not even affording those budgets, and so even the kids are stressed, and actually there's also a lot of uncertainty, and the children are anxious.
Na jirani yako anapitia violence, kupigwa na mzee, kama kuna mtoto pia anapitia the same thing. Tumefunzwa leo ni vizuri unaripoti, si vizuri kujiangalilia tu mabaya yakitendeka.
Yeah, if you're going through a hard situation, kindly find someone to talk to. It's very important. And thank you very much for choosing This Is The Day on Family Radio 316 and Family TV. From next week, this seat will be occupied by Sarah Otieno. It's been great. It's been amazing. Have yourself a blessed weekend. I have been your host, Modix Airo.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.